we are set.
Okay, well, welcome to Backyard Beekeeping with Robert and Courtney and Susan and Glenn.
Hey.
And,
Good afternoon.
Hello.
We are getting the hive set up right now.
There's
We're
like
getting ready to.
sun. Okay.
Okay, you want to come on this side? Yeah, why don't you go on that side? We're getting ready to set up the stand here. We just got the stand finished, and we cut the legs to 18 inches long. That is supposed to be the normal height, so that skunks and other animals around that size, like possums and things like that, can't get up into the hive. So 18 inches is about the average height that most people will put their hive. Now the first thing we're going to put down is the landing board. Now this is the landing board. That's pretty much all it is. It's all it's used for. There's nothing else that's part of it. All the bees do is they land on it. It gives them a landing area strip here before they can go into the hive. Now landing board is not it's not something you have to have, but something a lot of people like to use so that the bees have a nice area to land and go inside. And also during the hot summertime, the bees will actually come out and they'll get on the landing board and they'll fan their wings, and that will actually create an air conditioning system to pull heat out of the hive when the hive is really hot during the hottest part of the year. The next piece we've got here is the bottom board. Now on the bottom board, you've got a screened in board here, and this is basically just the very base of the hive. Now the reason why it's screened in here is for ventilation purposes. It will let air in and out of the hive, and it will help the bees regulate the humidity level inside the hive. The other reason why it's screened is because bees will get mites on them when they're on plants, and they'll come inside the hive, they'll have the mites on them, and they'll shake, and what will happen is the mites will fall off and they'll fall through the cracks of the screen and they can't get back up inside the hive. So that's the next part of the base here. Now the first box we're going to put on, all these boxes are the same size. This is an 8-frame setup here. So each box, this is called a super. Each box, each super has 8 frames inside of it, so they're all interchangeable from box to box. The first super we're going to put on here is called the brood chamber. Okay, the brood chamber is basically the bees' territory. This is where you're not really going to do anything in this chamber except just check on the bees and make sure everything looks healthy and everything looks okay. This is where the queen's going to lay most of her eggs. This is where the bees are also going to store the royal jelly, and most of the baby bees will hatch out of this area, and the baby bees will be inside of a honeycomb that's surrounded by honey as well for them to feed on. After this, we're going to go ahead and start putting in the trays here. Now these trays, they've got beeswax foundation in them. So what that does, it helps the bees, when they smell that beeswax, they will start building honeycomb right away. There won't be any time lapse in them trying to figure out, where they're supposed to start their home. So that's why a lot of people like to go ahead and use beeswax foundation in there. We're going to go ahead and put in, we're going to go ahead and put in 5 of our 8 frames. We're going to leave 3 frames out, because what's going to happen is we're going to dump the bees in here and they need some room to actually move around a little bit, not make them too crowded. So we're going to leave the other trays right there, and we're going to add those later after we add the bees. Now this is really going to be our initial setup here. We're going to have the cover. After today, what we're going to do on top of this is we're going to put a feeder inside. We're making a homemade feeder out of a gallon size Ziploc bag. All we're doing is putting sugar syrup inside there, and we're going to cut some slits in the gallon bag so the bees can get inside, and that's what they're going to feed on initially. So that's why this next hive body, or this next super, is going to go on here. And basically all this is going to do is just is going to have a cover for them to be able to feed in this area. And then when we're all finished, we're going to put this put the top board on there. Now there's also an inner cover that we don't have right now, but we're going to add that later. So anyways, that's our start, and the next time you see us, we're going to be putting bees in the hive, I think. So we're going to go inside and watch a little video, make sure we've got all of our information squared away, And we appreciate you joining us.